join my fiance and I October 30th at 6 p.m. as we count down to Halloween during our live drunk horror movie watch party. Hey everyone, it's NECA, and today I want to talk about the anime Schoollive. Premiering during the 2015 summer block, the anime was well liked by fans of the medium, catapulting manga sales into the millions and even receiving a live-action adaptation that was fine. But as a 10-year-old anime with no chance at a second season by this point, why am I talking about Schoollive? Because nobody knows about this anime. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to introduce someone to this anime only for them to go, "Oh, you're talking about High School of the Dead, right? Oh, I like High School of the Dead. I've already seen that one." No, I'm not talking about High School of the Dead. That's a completely different anime. And this baffles me so much, as this was a decently popular show when it premiered. Not only that, but it also happens to be extremely good. Like, not only is it one of my favorite horror animes, but I even regard it as one of the best animes ever made. So I'm here to tell you why Schoollive is a must-watch anime. But before we get into that, here's a brief synopsis in case you missed it. Girls wake in high school. They live there. Peaceful fun school life. Just kidding. Zombie apocalypse. They must survive. One girl blissful ignorance. Dog drama. All caught up? Cool, because there might be some minor spoilers. I'd also like to preface these opinions to call them what they are, opinions, obviously. And although I really love this anime, I'll try to do my best at being unbiased in these opinions as possible. This is gonna be difficult. Point number one, the opening. I'm just getting this aspect out of the way as it is one of the first things people see from the anime. For most series, it's common to watch the opening for a first episode. Then once you've seen it, you just skip it to get on with the show from there on out, right? This anime, being subversive as it is, begins with a happy, fun, very moe intro. Wow, look at how much fun these girls are having. Surely this is a show all about cute girls doing cute things. But by the end of the first episode, you already know what's going on. Instead of repeating the same opening and pretending nothing is wrong with this anime, episode 2's opening subtly changes, showing the anime's true intent. Still keeping the same theme song though, because it's a bop. Now you'd think that this is the extent of the opening changes, and that alone is a pretty cool way to subvert audiences' expectations. But we're not done. The series is not short of twists and turns. Every time a major plot beat happens in the anime, the opening reflects that revelation. It begs the question why this isn't a common aspect shared amongst other anime openings. It's a brilliant way to showcase the evolution of the show's narrative and gives incentive for audiences to stick around during the opening. There's a reason why so many people remember and talk about the intro of this anime, and I'm sure the theme song is an earworm to some other than I. It's entirely innovative, having a naturally fluctuating opening that changes along with the narrative and viewers' discoveries, making this one of the most memorable and original aspects of the anime. Point number two, the direction. This point is perhaps the most preeminent part of the anime that makes it one of the best in my eyes. I'm encompassing a few facets of the anime into this point, as they all culminate into one cohesive vision by director Masao Ando. Let's start out with the changes that were made from the manga. There's a lot. Normally this would be a bad thing, as fans often expect to see their favorite stories adapted as true to their source material as possible, and when an anime fails to do this, triggered otakus are almost guaranteed to flock to the forums. But the changes in this anime serve to elevate the narrative rather than being unnecessary filler. Take the dog, for instance. Toromaru is a character who's completely absent from the original manga, yet he's such an important part of the anime as he's a catalyst for the comic relief that breaks up the tension and an additional subject eliciting empathy from the viewers. He's definitely the best at doing that. The changes introduced to the story by Ando never detract from the plot or themes of its original source, masterfully expanding an already gripping narrative. The director also snuck in some clever details throughout the anime that further enhance the viewing experience for eagle-eyed individuals. As far back as the first episode before the twist, there are a number of instances cluing viewers in on the reality that these girls live in. While to some, clues such as these spoil the inevitable twists, in this case, these details evoke a mystery to follow along, and when a major twist to the plot is presented, it's always a surprising and satisfying payoff. This makes multiple viewings of the anime almost feel rewarding, as one can pick up on these details with newfound context during a second watch. The links the director went in hiding little Easter eggs for us to find goes beyond sly nods to pop culture. For instance, Mickey reading The Standard by Stephen King may not appear to have any plot relevancy unless you're familiar with Stephen King's The Stand. Couple these findings with all the allusions to George A. Romero in his film Dawn of the Dead, Francis Lawrence's I Am Legend, and countless other homages, and you got a sincere love letter to the zombie genre on top of already being an incredible anime. Now I wanted to talk briefly about the music, as this is one of the anime's aspects that I am completely infatuated with. Being a subversion of the CGDCT genre, the soundtrack features plenty of high-spirited, quirky songs that match the vibe of Yuki's distorted view of the world around her. They're cute, catchy tunes that are cued during the brightest parts of the anime. Then when moments of horror are triggered, the music gets creepy and intense. But where the soundtrack truly shines is during the most dramatic parts of the anime. From somber music box arrangements to beautifully stringed pieces, these tracks are the ones I still listen to. Of course, I can't forget about the insert song We Took Each Other's Hand by Kaori Sawada, an emotional ballad that seems innocuous at first until we're introduced to Mickey's backstory. Then the song takes on a whole new emotional meaning. But my favorite song is absolutely Yasashisa ni Fureta Toki, which plays during the most hopeful moments of the series. This song is one of the most beautifully composed pieces of music I've ever heard, bringing tears to my eyes every time I hear it. This song touched me so much that I, no joke, almost made a whole video talking about just this piece of music. It's that powerful. Now I know I talked about the OP already, but one more thing about the intro song. It's titled Friend Shitai, and on the surface that could translate into I want to be friends. But Shitai has a double meaning. It can be read as want to, or as corpse. So the anime's opening, after recognizing its subtext, is saying, all my friends are dead, and you're next. Although these aspects on their own aren't necessarily the sole works of the director, everything in this anime has a unified vision that is brought together spectacularly by the direction, further establishing the series as a staple in horror anime. Point number 3, the horror. It's important to bring this aspect up as you can't have a horror anime without some actual horror going on. Noted. However, simply telling you the scary moments that happen in the anime will kind of spoil the fun of experiencing them for yourself, so I'm just going to be brief on this point. While the series isn't necessarily the scariest anime, there are genuine moments of terror that are surprising. The series jumps from lighthearted school adventures to zombie survival constantly, with the latter having much more prevalence as the anime progresses. The narrative does an impeccable job at leaning into this factor, showcasing Yuki's mental instability at its forefront and creating engagement for the viewer as you never know what to expect next. Having an unreliable narrator as the protagonist emphasizes this dread of the unknown. The zombies themselves are not only a constant threat, but a somber reminder to the girls of their carefree school lives they once lived. So while the scares in the anime aren't likely to faze the hardcore horror audience, these themes are utilized to convey deep characteristics of the human condition. And that's one of the biggest things this series gets so right. Schoollive is one of the greatest horror animes of all time. Its empathy-provoking narrative is still one that I continue to reflect on to this day. Although the series isn't discussed much by contemporary audiences, it's still one of my personal favorite stories of the horror genre that I wholeheartedly recommend as a hidden gem you need to watch. And there are still so many cool things in this anime that I haven't even talked about, like Megune's selflessness and the hope that she inspires in Yuki, and by proxy the rest of the girls. Kurumi's arc and the badass she became following the outbreak. Miki and Kei's tender yet tragic lesbian relationship. Dog. I love this anime so much that I even cosplay the protagonist. Harping off with what I mean when I say that no one knows about the series, I've worn this cosplay to a few conventions and only had like a couple of people actually know what I was cosplaying. Shout out to those people. Contrast that to my Poison Ivy cosplay that received a lot of attention at LA Comic Con for some reason. But what did you think of Schoollive? Let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like, it helps me grow. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Have a spooky day. Bye bye.